Nightline begins now with me, Azaria Tagaya. News making the headlines. Antisexual harassment bill passed. And Ranil Wickremesinghe elected president in crisis hit Sri Lanka. The Dewan Rakyat has voted to pass a bill to enact laws on sexual harassment. Although the law is more towards protection of women against sexual harassment, the bill will also apply to men.
Dengan adanya RU ini yang telah diluluskan, dia tidak berhenti hanya setakat ini saja. Sebab ini jelajah roadshow yang akan kita adakan bersama-sama dengan pihak NGO untuk kita memberikan kefahaman, kesedaran tentang apa itu gangguan seksual, ya, tentang implikasinya kepada masyarakat.
An action plan has been drafted to implement the law once it becomes enforceable. Under the law, those found to have committed sexual harassment may end up paying their victims a sum of up to 250,000 ringgit in compensation or, in default, serve a 2-year jail term. Apart from being ordered to make restitution for losses suffered by the victim, an offender will also be required to issue an apology. If the sexual harassment is committed in public, the offender will be required to make a public apology. Companies will also be required to display anti-sexual harassment posters or materials in the workplace. They have also agreed to increase the penalty from 10,000 ringgit to 50,000 ringgit for companies who fail to manage incidents of sexual harassment in the workplace. Now, speaking to Nightline, the women's aid organisation WAO said the sexual harassment bill passed is significant to the community. This after all the victims' efforts in voicing out their experiences to the world finally bore fruit.
Developing a set of guidelines as part of the law, a set of guidelines that would ensure that any organisation, companies, schools, universities, so on, are equipped, know what to do when they face sexual harassment and know what to do to prevent sexual harassment in their locations. So that's the first. Second is a plan of action for the implementation of the bill. And so we're looking forward to be involved in that process as well. And thirdly, the minister noted that the ministry will form a monitoring and evaluation committee to monitor the bill, to see how the bill rolls out, and to work towards proper implementation of the bill, as well as future improvements of the bill. So these are three things that are very important, without which it will be quite difficult to ensure the bill is effective.
The Women's Aid Organisation said the law would not only protect women, but the law would also apply to men.
In about a third of Malaysians, women have experienced sexual harassment. So we hope that with this bill, it's only one step towards ending sexual harassment, but we hope that it can provide a very important avenue for anyone who has been sexually harassed to take some kind of action to make their case known and to get some kind of justice and protection from being sexually harassed.
The Finance Ministry is targeting an estimated 5 billion ringgit to 6 billion ringgit worth of savings from the remaining operating allocation in 2022. Its Minister, Datuk Seri Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz, said although the value is small, but every sen counts for the ministry to help the people.
Lebih fokus kepada isu-isu yang berkaitan rakyat, ya, dan mana yang kita tidak ada batalkan apa-apa projeknya, tidak ada projek yang dibatalkan, tapi projek yang boleh ditangguh, kita cuba tangguhlah.
Datuk Seri Tengku Zafrul spoke to the media at the R&D Studios animation-based 10th anniversary celebration in Putrajaya on Wednesday. He pointed out that the 2022 budget expenditure is 322 billion ringgit, with this year's development expenditure around 75 billion ringgit. However, he noted subsidies have reached 77.7 billion ringgit and is expected to reach 80 billion ringgit due to global commodity prices. Datuk Seri Tengku Zafrul also assured that no new form of tax would be made at this time. The government has approved the Central Forest Spine Ecological Network Master Plan, which is an urban and rural planning policy to be used as a guide in the future forest development for Peninsular Malaysia. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the master plan is an initiative to connect the country's 8 major forest complexes throughout Peninsular Malaysia, involving Kedah, Perak, Kelantan, Terengganu, Pahang, Johor, Selangor and Negeri Sembilan. In a statement after chairing the 40th National Physical Planning Council meeting on Tuesday, the Prime Minister said the measure is intended to preserve the forest areas in Peninsular Malaysia so that there is a physical network of forests that are connected throughout the Central Forest Spine area, in line with the vision of reconnecting the forest. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri explained that the master plan has identified 39 ecological networks to connect forest areas or aisles that are not connected due to fragmentation. He said the efforts were to reduce conflict between humans and wildlife by ensuring that the natural path of wildlife from one forest area to another is not hindered by development activities. On another matter, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said the meeting also took note of the Public Open Space Status Report in Peninsular Malaysia and the Federal Territory in 2020, which has been prepared by the Ministry of Housing and Local Government. He explained that the government has set a target of 2 hectares of open space for 1,000 urban residents. The total amount of public open space in Peninsular Malaysia and the Federal Territory is 23,433 hectares. However, only 33% of it has been gazetted. 24% of public open space is in the process of being gazetted, while the rest has not been gazetted. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri, who is also the Borough MP, said all state governments, with the responsible agencies under it, are called to take serious steps in expediting the gazetting of the public open space under Section 62 of the National Land Code. In other news, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri on Wednesday proposed to the National Utility Company Tenaga Nasional Berhad (TNB) and Perusahaan Automobil Kedua Sendirian Berhad (Perodua) to forge cooperation in introducing affordable electric vehicle or EV charging rates for the people. The Prime Minister said TNB was currently working to increase its energy production by using renewable energy sources and providing adequate EV charging stations.
Pada masa yang sama, Perodua boleh mengambil peluang ini dengan meneroka peluang baru seperti menghasilkan kenderaan elektrik berkualiti tinggi yang mampu dimiliki oleh keluarga Malaysia. Kedua-dua pihak boleh bekerjasama untuk memperkenalkan kadar caj yang mampu dilanggani oleh semua pihak.
The Prime Minister added that telecommunication companies such as Telekom Malaysia can also work with these two parties to provide a data package that will enable users to book EV charging sessions online. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said such smart cooperation should be forged as soon as possible to overcome the effects of climate change that had hit the world, as well as to ensure sustainable development of the country. He said the cooperation would also help achieve Malaysia's target of being a carbon neutral nation by as early as 2050. The Prime Minister said this when launching the all-new Perodua Alza at the Kuala Lumpur Convention Centre on Tuesday. Now, who's our guest this week? He started as a consultant engineer in Australia in 1989. He received the Outstanding Property CEO Award in 2015. Above all, he has 30 years of experience in the property development industry. Eco World Malaysia's Datuk Chang Kim Wah speaks to Money Matters on how to stay relevant to the needs of the market. This Saturday at 5 p.m, only on TV3.
Menara berkembar 88 tingkat siap dibina dalam tempoh 4 tahun. Tetapi pasar baru Raja But 11 tahun menunggu. Masih tak siap.
Ada di kalangan peniaga tempatan ni dah meninggal lah. Dia tak sempat nak menikmati gerai yang patut dia dapat.
Kontraktor pun dah berapa banyak kontraktor yang lari. Sedih jugalah rancangan yang baik tapi tiba-tiba tak ada apa.
Laporannya dalam Aduan Rakyat Sabtu dan Ahad ini di TV3.
Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah visited the Farnborough International Air Show 2022 FIA 2022 in Farnborough, United Kingdom on Tuesday on the invitation of the event organizer. TV3 correspondent Haliza Hashim reports from Farnborough.
The King's arrival was greeted by Farnborough International Chairman Paul Everett and its senior officials. Also present were Chief of Defence Force General Tan Sri Effendi Buang, Chief of Air Force General Tan Sri Muhammad Ashgar Khan Goriman Khan, and Malaysian High Commissioner to the UK Zakri Jaafar. Throughout his 6-hour visit, the King received briefings from several exhibiting companies. Al Sultan also visited the Malaysia Pavilion led by Malaysia External Trade Development Corporation, MATRADE. 14 Malaysian companies and 3 government agencies, the National Aerospace Industry Coordination Office, the Raju Bumiputra Corporation and Invest Selangor Berhad took part this year. MATRADE has been participating in FIA trade show since 2014.
Tuanku is extremely pleased to see a very active participation of our aerospace players in Malaysia. And his advice, of course, is that we should carry on because this is the business for the future. This sector provides a very real income, high growth, and across the board, we will be able to see a lot of participation, be it in training and so forth.
Malaysia's participation in the FIA aims to showcase the country's current aerospace ecosystem, as well as strengthening the industry's relationship with original manufacturers, OEMs, and suppliers from around the world. In 2021, Malaysia's export of aerospace parts and components totaled 5.79 billion ringgit, with the main export markets being France, China, and the United Kingdom. During his visit, Al Sultan also met United Kingdom Minister for Exports, Andrew Griffith. FIA 2022 is a week-long biannual event beginning July the 18th, combining trade exhibition for the aerospace and defence industries and air show. Halisa Hashim, TV3, Farnborough.
The resumption of foreign carriers and international routes had contributed to a 6-time increase year-on-year of air passenger volume in the first half of this year. According to Malaysia Airports Holdings Berhad, MAHB, total domestic passenger movements increased to 20.25 million passengers in that period. For June 2022, Malaysia's total passenger traffic movements came in at 4.54 million passengers, making up 63% of the group's total passenger movements of 7.21 million. Malaysia recorded 1.29 million international passengers, while domestic traffic was 3.24 million passengers. According to MAHB Managing Director Dato' Iskandar Mizal Mahmud, KLIA's total international traffic in June surpassed the 1 million passenger mark for the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic, with 1.09 million international passengers, up 21% from May. The Energy and Natural Resources Ministry will submit a proposal to the Cabinet on the implementation of a targeted electricity bill subsidy for the next imbalance cost pass-through ICPT cycle period. ICPT is a mechanism under the Incentive-Based Regulation IBR framework, which allows for TNB as the utility to reflect changes in fuel and other generation-related costs in the electricity tariff. Its Minister, Dato' Sri Takiuddin Hassan, said the ministry also planned to prioritise the use of least cost fuel dispatch for electricity generation as a long-term mitigation plan. He said this is to address the global energy crisis and ICPT, which is expected to increase. Currently, all domestic users are enjoying the 2 cent per kilowatt-hour rebate. Dato' Sri Takiuddin added, in the future, the T20 group may be subject to the ICPT surcharge. On June 24th, the government agreed to bear subsidies amounting to 5.8 billion ringgit from July 1st to December 31st, 2022, despite the steep rise in fuel cost in the global market. A total of 16,381 teachers recruited through special recruitments have been placed in schools under the Education Ministry to fill existing vacancies. Its Minister, Datuk Dr. Razi Jidin, said the ministry had announced in June last year that a special one-off intake of teachers involving 18,702 education service officers on grade DG41 would fill vacancies throughout the country.
Khusus bagi negeri Sabah,
seramai 1,653 orang guru yang dilantik melalui ambilan one-off merupakan anak kelahiran Sabah yang terdiri daripada 1,498 guru lantikan tetap dan 155 orang guru lantikan COS. Daripada 1,653 orang guru yang dilantik, seramai 1,221 guru baru telah ditempatkan di Sekolah Negeri Sabah.
Tambahnya urusan lantikan dan penempatan 16,300.
Datuk Dr. Razi said the appointment and placement of 16,381 teachers have been fully implemented by the Education Services Commission. Of the total, 13,770 teachers were appointed on permanent basis, while 2,611 were appointed on contract basis. Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss to face off in final round of Tory leadership race. News from the Foreign Front when we return. With news from the Foreign Front, Ranil Wickremesinghe will take oath as Sri Lanka's new president on Thursday after his victory in a parliament vote to choose a new president for the South Asian country. Wickremesinghe roundly defeated his main rival for the job, Dulas Alahaparuma, with 130 votes to 82 in the presidential election by the 225-member parliament. With the elevation of the 73-year-old to the top job, the current cabinet automatically stands dissolved and a new prime minister will be chosen to form a new cabinet. After sweeping the vote with the backing of the Rajapaksa's ruling party, Wickremesinghe called for unity and bipartisanship moving forward, saying the nation was in a very difficult situation and there were big challenges ahead. The newly elected president said he is aiming to restore political stability so the country can resume negotiations with the International Monetary Fund for a bailout package. Britain's next Prime Minister will be either Rishi Sunak or Liz Truss after Penny Mordaunt was eliminated from the Tory leadership race on Wednesday. Former Chancellor Sunak topped the MP's poll with 137 votes, followed by Foreign Secretary Truss on 113 and Mordaunt on 105. The two finalists now have over a month of campaigning to Tory party members before the winner is announced on September 5th. The pair have to woo some 160,000 Conservative Party members who will vote for their favourite to become PM, replacing Boris Johnson. Ballots are being sent out to the new membership, who have until September 2nd to vote.
Because you have raised tax, it is cutting back on growth.
Over in Greece, a wildfire fueled by gale-force winds has raged in mountains near Athens on Wednesday, forcing hundreds, including hospital patients, to evacuate. It was reported that almost 500 firefighters, 120 fire engines and 15 water-carrying planes tried to contain flames over Mount Penteli, located 27 kilometers north of central Athens. The blaze, which broke out on Tuesday afternoon, continued to burn on several fronts on Wednesday. Authorities said one hospital and the National Observatory of Athens have been evacuated, adding that police have also helped at least 600 residents out of fire-stricken areas. Greece has been spared the heatwave conditions currently plaguing countries in Western Europe, but hot and dry conditions persisting for weeks, as well as longer-term temperature rises, have increased the overall risk of forest fires. Super League matches were played on Wednesday night. Johor Darul Takzim JDT beat Pulau Pinang 1-0 and Melaka United played to a 2-all draw with Petaling Jaya. Meanwhile, Kuala Lumpur City were held to a 1-all draw with Selangor at the Petaling Jaya Council Stadium. The Red Giants dominated the first half and opened the scoring when skipper Brendan Gunn's volley deflected off KL defender Muhammad Irfan Zakaria in the 36th minute. KL City had a good chance to equalise from the spot in the 65th minute when Shahrul Nazim was penalised for pulling back import striker Jordan Minta, but Colombian Romel Morales' effort was pushed out by Selangor custodian Samuel Jacob Somerville. Morales, however, managed to make amends for his penalty miss when he headed home a perfectly flighted cross by Muhammad Irfan 3 minutes later to restore parity for the reigning Malaysia Cup champions. In tennis, Andrei Rublev advanced to the last 16 at the Hamburg European Open on Wednesday following a straight-set win over Ricardas Brankis. The second seed hit through the Lithuanian with his precise and powerful ground strokes while he stepped up his intensity in the key moments to shrug off a second-set Brankis comeback and advance 6-3, 6-4 after 73 minutes. Rublev now holds a 10-2 record at the ATP 500 clay court event, having advanced to the final in 2019 before he defeated Stefanos Tsitsipas to lift the trophy in his previous appearance in 2020. Rublev next faces Francisco Cerundolo of Argentina for a place in the quarterfinals. Moving on to golf, Sweden's Henrik Stenson was stripped of his Team Europe Ryder Cup captaincy on Wednesday amid speculation in the media that he is set to join the lucrative Live Golf Invitational Series. The 2016 British Open champion helped Europe to victory in 3 of his 5 Ryder Cup appearances as a player, including the last home tournament at Le Golf National in 2018. Stenson, aged 46, was also vice-captain to Padraig Harrington at Whistling Straits last year and had been tasked with regaining the trophy following Europe's record 19-9 defeat to the United States team in Wisconsin. Sky Sports reported on Tuesday that Stenson would become the latest to join the list of players who have signed up for the Live Golf Invitational Series. The likes of 6-time major champion Phil Mickelson, former world number ones Dustin Johnson and Brooks Koepka, and former US Open champion Bryson DeChambeau have all already joined. Bankrolled by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, Live Golf held its first event in London last month, which was won by South Africa's Charles Schwartzel, who pocketed the $4 million prize, the biggest paycheck in golf history. Coming up after this short break, almost 1 million ringgit worth of drugs seized in Perak. Stay tuned. For staying with us. A total of 137 reports related to online scam syndicates were reported to have occurred in Putrajaya from the beginning of this year to last June, involving a loss of 8 million ringgit. The matter was revealed by Putrajaya District Police Chief ACP A. Asmadi Abdul Aziz through a town hall session which took place in Putrajaya on Tuesday.
Di Putrajaya ni saya cerita jelaslah. Untuk mana-mana Ustaz lebih kurang kan 75% ialah banyakkan pejabat awam dan daripada kes kita tu 52% ialah melibatkan pejabat awam lah.
He said 6 categories of fraud cases were reported, namely Macau scam, online purchase fraud, non-existent loans, job offer frauds using e-commerce platforms, investment and love and parcel scams. He added that the police have also expressed concern about the increasing trend of Macau scam cases in the district, when 44 reports were received so far last month compared to 38 reports last year. In Perak, police nabbed a drug pusher and seized heroin and methamphetamine worth almost 1 million ringgit in a raid on a house in Cangkat Kruing near Manjung last Monday. State Police Chief Datuk Mior Farid Alatrash Wahid said police also seized a motorcycle believed to have been used for distributing the drugs. He said it was estimated that the amount of drugs seized could supply approximately 100,000 drug addicts in Manjung and nearby areas. The 56-year-old man tested positive for drugs and has 4 previous records related to the illegal substance. It is believed that the drug pusher has been active over the past 6 months. The suspect has been remanded for 1 week to facilitate further investigations. In Selangor, a lorry driver was charged at the Klang Magistrates Court on charges of reckless driving resulting in an accident involving 8 vehicles in Port Klang on July 8th. He pleaded guilty after the charge against him was read out before Magistrate Amirul Ashraf Abdul Rashid. 41-year-old Muhammad Kirudin allegedly committed the act in Jalan Beringin, Port Klang, involving a lorry that crashed into 8 cars that were parked in the parking lot. Police investigation found that the accuser's breath was found to contain alcohol in excess of the permissible limit. The accused was granted bail by the court of 3,500 ringgit with 1 shorty while waiting for a decision on sentencing on September 12th. As we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look at the Future Energy Asia and Future Mobility Asia 2022 exhibition, which kicked off on Wednesday in Bangkok, Thailand. The exhibition brought together over 100 exhibitors from transport sector to showcase their latest technologies of the future automobile and clean energy. With that, I'm Azaria Tagaya. Thank you for watching and stay safe.